July 10th, 9:49am, District Court, Defendant, Lobby number 2. Hello everyone, Triple S back with some more apologies, Ace Attorney. My throat's not feeling very well today, and I'm probably going to destroy it recording this and Miles Edgeworth. And I might be having to, stop every so often to have a drink. But I'm going to power through. Is that actually a picture of the judge in the background? I don't know. Kind of looks like him, but it could just be someone else. Who knows? Anyway, let's carry on. Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. And then there was yesterday. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy. We're leaving. Darian, wait. I never liked you. Either of you. Huh? What a meanie. Darn it, you were so close. He's about to tell us. Hey, Apollo. You didn't want us to hear what Matchy had to say. I think I know why. Time to bring down a little justice. Eek! What was that? He is heard but unseen. Who was that talking? Balan Glamorai. Using the door like an average muggle, no less. Muggle. You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Volant? A preposterous proposition. How can I stand to stand upon the stand? Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. That is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Oh, with vanishing magic? Indeed, I will jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning. Warning? What? A grand Grammari glamour resides at the root of all that's happened. Do not forget this truth. A glamour? A spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. It's true, see, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Farewell! And there he goes. He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. Oh, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show with that one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually it involves cutting up things like, oh god, Eiffel Tower, anything. You didn't give me a chance to read it, Trucy. See, he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Mars' disappearing act. Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar. Wonder what he meant by it being at the root of all that's happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go? Excuse me, sir. Yes? The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30am. Sorry for the inconvenience. Huh? Did something happen? This is a first. It was by the judge's request. Some urgent personal business. Great. But he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently he's visiting the hospital again. The hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition worsened considerably this morning. The Chief Justice's son? Oh, that's right. Remember yesterday morning? The judge said he had to go visit him after the trial. There's an article about it in the newspaper. If you care to read about it yourself. Newspaper article added to Got Record. Incuritis? Where have I heard that before? I'll let you read that article first, Apollo. Just leave the TV guide page to me. Try not to lose the page with the funnies if you can. Try not to blow everything up, 007. July 10th, 10:30am, District Court, Courtroom number 3. Also, I just remembered, I was recording Justice for All, my non-commentary recording of it. I've deleted my original recordings of the first 3 games because they were terrible quality. But following the guide, I pressed a statement that I did not need to press, and I realised it straight away that I didn't need to press it at all to advance the game. It was just to add plot. So many times, I guess in this guide, for the first 3 games in this game, it's written by the same person, they put in to press things to add context for later things. So if ever I press something that it seems like I didn't need to press it or present stuff or anything like that, it's because it's adding either context or plot Not to advance the story, but so you can keep up and understand what's going on. Anyway, let's carry on. My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of, how do you say this name again? Machi Tobaye, that's how I pronounce it, our suspect Fortissimo. Right, it's his trial, in any case. The defence is prepared, Your Honour. The prosecution is ready to rock. Is something wrong, Your Honour? No. Well, yes. It's just I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. It pains me to see him going through such a difficult time. Incuritis, was it? That Eccles said there is no known cure. Judge, let me say with all honesty, I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law. Indeed. We left off at quite the juncture yesterday. I asked Interpol about the number. IPXX314206. The agent registered under this number was Romain Latouche. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honour. I'll be heading out. Wait! That voice just now. It was him. I'm sure of it. It was him? That voice I heard talking to Mr. Latouche when I heard the gunshots fired. It was him. It was Mr. Darien. No way! Quite a sensational ending. Who would have thought Darien would guest star in the season cliffhanger as a suspect? I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings. Darien Crescent is a member of my band, the Governors. He's also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet after investigation I have found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, Hair Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi. An alibi? Let's review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. The Governors ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guest took centre stage. The only performers appearing were myself, Lemoire and Machi, along with a drummer and bassist, for a total of 5. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the third set. Lemoire and the defendant, Machi Tobaye, had left the stage at that point, and the Governors were already rocking. This is when 2 shots rang out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Sky, mind you. And Apollo, you heard them too, right? I sure did. Furthermore, Lemoire herself witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime, when she claims to have heard Mr. Latouche and Detective Crescent talking. But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was... Precisely. Detective Crescent was on stage, getting his groove on, no less. Voila! A perfect alibi. Does the defence have anything to add to this? It's true, when I heard those gunshots he must have been on stage. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up. Appears the defence has no objections. I believe we can safely say that Darien Crescent's alibi has been acknowledged, which means that Lemoire was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true. Very well. Of course, if we disregard her testimony, then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections... oh, Apollo, if he declares a verdict now... but Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. Lemoire might have been lying to protect Machi. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait, what about yesterday in the detention centre? Hi now. About the case? What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latouche's death? This meeting's over. Darien! Machi was trying to tell us something. I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him, under oath. Very well, the court finds the defendant, what was his name again? Your Honour! No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquis or... Mr. Justice? Your Honour, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who until now has not been given a chance to speak in this court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean... I do. The defence calls defendant Machitabai to the stand. What? He doesn't speak English. We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter? I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. We only speak a few phrases such as I love you and where is the toilet? The defence would like to request Lemoire as the interpreter. Lemoire? But there's a possibility she's protecting the defendant. But she'd be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie? This is most unusual. Bravo, Herr Forehead. Herr Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defence's request. If Lemoire lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that. Well, if both prosecution and defence are for this, I see little cause for refusal. Finally, some progress. Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lemoire to the witness stand. I'm gonna take a drink. I suppose it was the first time for everything. Shall we proceed? Your name to begin with, if you would, Lemoire. Yep. He says Machitabai, the defendant. This is certainly a first for this courtroom. Not that we really needed an interpretation of that message in particular. So far, so good. Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would. Huh? If I would what, Your Honour? Would what? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about? What do I want him to testify about? I hadn't thought that far yet. Apollo, aren't you going to ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday? How could I if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment, if I might speak. Yes, Lemoire? Just now, Machi said there is something about which he wishes to testify. Machi wants to testify about something? What could it be? What sort of testimony is he talking about? One moment, please. It's like we're on a phone call. The suspense is killing me. I hate being on hold. What? 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 Well, Lemoire? According to Machi, he has proof of his innocence. What? Oh, my throat. This is a surprise. Yahoo! Victory, Apollo, we did it! This is sounding too good to believe, and I know what that usually means. Well, if that's true, then this is vital testimony. Lemoire, hey, Machi, please testify to the court. Very well. Okay. Witness testimony, proof of innocence. He says that word of Mr. Latusi's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of my song, I, that is, he, could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English, he does not understand them. But that's the thing, I've said it before, I'll say it again, just because they don't speak it, doesn't mean they don't understand it. I don't speak Japanese, but I can understand some freaking phrases. I mean, I could probably say them, but, I wouldn't say them in, Anyway, I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely. I wonder what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask Lemoire to know the meaning of that song. Lemoire, did you ever explain the lyrics of that song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked. Has my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead? Lemoire might be protecting the witness. You were the one who said that you could tell she was lying, douchebag. Well, anyway, let's proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would. Yes, Your Honour. Something's hidden in that testimony, I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. Okay. We gotta go to Statement 4. He says that because the lyrics are in English. Oops, didn't mean to press that. He says that... Oh, I can't pause because I've not bound my start button back to my controller from the keyboard. Whoops. Where am I gonna... Okay. It says his left eye. Are in English. I'm assuming it means his left. Ooh, there you go. He's looking at Lemoire. Oh, both of his eyes are. Yeah, his other eye's moving as well. Confirm. Take that, Machi. Machi! You can't fool my eyes. You glanced toward her the very moment Lamar said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that, he understands me. Like I've been saying! Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? What are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue the charade? Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned a name for this language, that is all. What? Ah, give me a break. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance? Well, yeah, but... I'm sorry, but he truly doesn't understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? Someone told him. It's simple, so simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. The newspaper? The Borginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. Ah, that's convenient. They've already begun to report about this case in our homeland. I was right. What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. Machi is lying. Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. Where's the newspaper? I don't know. What did it say again? Doesn't mention the lyrics of Lemoire's ballad. I have here a Borginian newspaper, the Borginian Daily Bugle as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? That's right, it doesn't mention the lyrics. What? What is this all about? I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Borginian newspaper. Take that. What does this mean? But I don't see how it's possible. Ah, I know. You must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning. Yes. Not possible, the subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So, the lyrics weren't in the newspaper and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in this courtroom. In English, no less. The witness will explain himself. Machi says... He says... Yes? It is true I read the newspaper. But this is not where I learned the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What? Is this true, Lemoire? Yep, I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. It looks like F4 has been jumping to conclusions again. Seems so, yes. No. I was onto something, I know it. I can't let this chance slip away. Time is an issue today, Mr. Justice. Are you finished with the cross-examination? What are you going to do, Apollo? If I'm going to keep on cross-examining, I'd better have an angle of attack. Or else. My bracelet's still reacting. Your Honour, please allow me to continue. If you must, you must. Very well, witness. I understand. Okay, it was I who explained that the crime followed the song. We touched the bracelet. Wait. Now? Is that good? He said it was straight away. It was I who explained, and you got to pick her mouth. Lemoire, I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes, you swallowed. Oh. You told me to look at her mouth, not her neck. I would have noted this was her swallowing. Oh, okay. Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. I see there is little point in trying to hide anything from you. Lamar, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not a question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. Lamar, you're protecting... Do we really have to point this out? It's him. Lamar, you are protecting Machi. That's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi, I believe you didn't do it. Really, I trust you. But you've lied to us twice. And now you have Lamar lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English, you have to. Ah! Witness, is this true? Do you understand English? Yes, a little only. Damn. What? First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Lamar? No, I did not. It is quite a surprise. How many secrets is this witness hiding? This is last. Machi, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting! I did no shooting. So you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct? Ooh. Apparently the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room behind desk, manager he on floor. Which would be after the shooting, right? Then there is voice. Voice of voices, was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Machi went into the dressing room, Mr. Latus had already been shot. And then we came to the door. Panel high up, I take off, run away, run away! So it was you who escaped through the air vent. As the prosecution has held all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? No, he's clearly denied that he did it. I know shooting. Manager on floor, already on floor. The victim had already been shot, you say? I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter. Does the defendant have anything to say to this? He's clammed up, Apollo. Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness? Is that it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait. No, of course there is. What is this cocoon anyway? The cocoon, the silk, is a potent cure. A cure? Well, Machi, are you a smuggler? He won't tell me. That cocoon has to have something to do with this. Machi, please tell us the truth for your own sake. No, no more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust, Hair Forehead. I was going to say truth then. Hey, you were the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse. It does seem like the defence and the defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defence will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed. July 10th, 11:23 AM, District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2. Apollo Eustace. That's justice, but I'll learn how to say it if you ever want to get some. Believe, I know shooting. Machi claims Mr. Latus was already down on the ground when he entered the room. Maybe it was a trap and he walked right into it. Suddenly, I hear revolver. Close, very close. Oh! It wasn't like the soundboard, it was the earpiece thingies, and they fired 2 shots through it and it came through the earpiece, along with the voice. Maybe? To stage the fact that, yeah, I'm just spitballing here. Then I hear voice. You heard gunshots? Yep, it's true. I hear revolver, but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Latus already dead and then you heard the gunshots? That's true. So, you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots? and you escape for the air vent. I know. Huh? What do you know? I know if I opening vents, I can leave stage and backstage. So the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area? Is that what he means? Hey, he's right. Look, Apollo. Huh? Yeah. How did you know it was connected like that? Wait, I bet his father was the architect that designed the hall or something. I hear this from Magician. Magician? Don't look at me. A magician, huh? Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Matchy didn't shoot Mr. Latouche. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body and then he heard the shots? That one's going to go over well in court. Not. Apollo, you're his defence. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's what Daddy always told me. I'll just pretend you misheard him. Every time. So, what do we do? You sure you won't testify, Matchy? Hey, no talking, no. Well, it was worth a shot. That cocoon. I can't go home. Can't go home? I can't go home to Virginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Virginia is death. That's right, it's punishable by death. I need a drink. Of course he's scared. Oh, well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. That's the spirit, Apollo. So what's your plan? If Matchy won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right. July 10th, 11:28 AM, District Court, Courtroom number 3. Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendant? Yes, Your Honour. We had a good talk. Very well. So will he testify? Your Honour, the defendant will not testify. What? Shame, and here I thought this was your big chance to turn this case around. Actually, it is. The defence would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honour. A different angle? If Matchy won't testify, then I know who will. I would like to cross-examine the witness in this case, Lamoire. Lamoire?
Objection!
What are you up to now? I thought we determined yesterday that Lamoire's testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... Lamoire was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries. What happened? She was assaulted, Your Honour. Assaulted? Someone wanted Lamoire dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself. What? I've had no such reports. Prosecutor Gavin. Why would anyone be out to kill Lamoire? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been? You don't think? I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouche. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defence believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. So, am I to understand that this is what you are saying? Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in Lamoire's testimony? A nugget we have yet to uncover? Exactly. If Lamoire was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in the testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear Lamoire's testimony once more. I'm going to amend my guide here. Delete. Okay. Lamoire, I must apologise. We must ask you to stand again and speak. You need not apologise. I know that Matchy is innocent. And I will do all that I can until the court realises this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots of the shooter's voice through the window, and that the voice belonged to Darian Crescent, yes? That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed and was found to be quite soundproof. You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice? I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know. And yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be so kind as to testify once more to the court? Of course, Your Honour. Witness testimony, what I heard. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped, then I heard another gunshot. There was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past a small window. Huh. Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony. I am sorry. I'm not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth. And it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? Lamar was attacked because of her testimony. What, Trucy? Apollo, you know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness. I've messed up my guide here. I accidentally deleted more than I should have. There we go, that's better. Okay. So I've got to press statement 2. That's when I heard blah 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 blah. Darian Crescent. I did not know his name at the time. But yes, it was him, the one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There is no way you could have heard him. Because the window at the scene was closed? Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try. What were they talking about? Did you hear anything else? No need. What were they talking about? Lamar, do you by any chance remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. I have given it much reflection, but I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase? You remember something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. This could be it, the clue I've been waiting for. Well, what did he say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche. The shooter, then. Darian Crescent. Well, what did he say? It's over. Press the switch, now. Ooh. Switch? And the shooter said this to the victim, Mr. Latouche? I thought it quite strange myself afterward. It's a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this? I mean, sure. I'd be delighted. It's very, very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony? Maybe, Apollo? Okay, from the smaller window, I heard a voice say, press the switch. Now. Okay, we'll press this, apparently. Probably don't have to, but... And it was Detective Darian Crescent's voice. Yep, I'm sure of it. It's over. Press the switch. Why would he say that to Mr. Latouche? Apollo! The murder weapon, the revolver, was Mr. Latouche's, right? Yeah, what of it? Well, maybe when he said press the switch, he really meant to say pull the trigger? Because his English isn't so good? Darian Crescent is a native speaker. Oh right. Sorry, I kind of forgot who was what. Press the switch. It's not something a killer usually says to his or her victim, is it? Was there no one else in the room? Do not know. All I heard was Mr. Latouche and the detective. See, I bet I didn't need to press that at all. I just had to present here. We present... wherever the hell it is. The remote trigger. Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh? Yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch, save the lights. True, but there wasn't a switch at the scene. True, there wasn't, but it just so happens I have a switch right here. That certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it? The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage. The stage? Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there. On the stage. Are you claiming that the voice Lamar heard was of someone commanding another to press the switch? It's a possibility. Oh, Hair Forehead. I call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the layout of the concert forum. The stage is quite far from Lamar's dressing room. Not to mention that the gatherers were in the middle of a concert on said stage. We aren't known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard. The dead detective's voice was loud, but certainly not a shout. So too have Hair Forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me? You heard what I said. Or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from the dressing room. Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it would be easy to get a message to someone on stage from the dressing room. The headset. Prosecutor Gavin, perhaps you're familiar with this? Why that's... What is it? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking? This is a type of transmitter, a communications device. Communications device? Quite I've heard that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Ah, yes, actually. They're for talking between band members. We all had one on. So you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple. True, but wait. Those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. Lamar said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at this cross-section of the diagram of the concert forum. Ah, exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. That can't be! So when Lamar heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage. Ha! You're claiming this is the switch in question? Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact. Hey, he's got a point. How do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said press the switch? Well, I guess we don't. An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it. Ugh. I was sure this was the way to go with this. What is this switch anyway? We don't even know what that basic fact. Ooh. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that chain of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about this switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning this switch... Your Honour! Yes, Mr. Justice? I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what this switch is. Well, it seems the defence is set upon linking this switch to the case. Let's see your evidence of the link. What evidence do you have to explain what this switch is? Where the heck is it? The igniter. Prosecutor Gavin, you remember this? Ah! That what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones? This is an igniter. What phone looks like this? Igniter? You mean it's like a lighter? Yes, actually. You aren't saying this switch is a remote. I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you. No! Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom. Ah, sorry. That was a bit more fire than I'd expected. My whiskers have caught on fire. Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote lighter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Ah, exactly. That night at the concert there was one unusual burst of flame. When your guitar caught fire in the middle of your performance. Wasn't that part of the stage show though? Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had been planned. And and the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right, he got it in Virginia from Lamar. He said the sound was amazing before it burned, of course. Now it just kind of smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Hair forehead. Yes? Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice heard by the Moir, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at this crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire. Well, that does seem to make sense. There's something about it is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it. Really? Seems pretty simple to me. Hair, forehead, don't destroy what little respect I have for you. I was expecting something a little more sensible. I guess I was wrong. What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin? His simple story simply makes no sense. Think, that night my guitar caught fire, yes. The cause may have been this thing, yes. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. Ah, that's right, of course. The guitar caught fire during Lamar's song. Indeed, yet the shooting happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated. Ah, yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty. See, his story makes no sense. Are you sure about that? What exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. What premise is this specifically? I'm glad you asked. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third set. Act. Thing. What's this? But Detective Emma Skye heard shots and found the body. All of this happened in the third act. Gunshots rang out, and according to his testimony, he was in that dressing room at the time. Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice? Stay with me, Your Honour. He also told us this in his testimony, namely that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane. Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on his headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote triggered igniter was inside the guitar. From all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance, the second act. What? Order, order, order. But that goes against the evidence. What does, Your Honour? This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes? Hey, he's right, look. The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Huh? Look, why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through, with little merit for the person doing it. Well, I'm sure whoever it was had some reason. Yes, they did. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics. Is saying the order was reversed on purpose? Huh? Reversed, Prosecutor Gavin? If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet Hair Forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd followed the lyrics the whole way. Order, order, order. That would explain this most unusual situation. It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second. I just got a text with my text alert, which is Fuchs Wright shouting, "Objection." I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but sadly it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Oh, it sounds good, I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics from my song, but I question your logic. For it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, a contradiction, Hair Forehead. One I pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could the Moi have heard a voice through it? Was she wearing a headset? Oh. I know you would like to divert attention from these critical facts, but you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. Right. The Moi's testimony is my entire case. That voice you heard, the shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying press the switch. And near the crime scene, we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be coincidence. How do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was investigated immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Care to tell us how Lemoire heard the voice? The key point to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court? Okay, Justice, you've got one thing to prove and one thing only. Lemoire heard a voice, and she heard it during the second step. I think, how is Lemoire able to hear the voice? The window was open, she has divine hearing. She was somewhere else. When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it had it been open either, meaning it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. It's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment I was afraid you might be a Bodginian too. As I was saying, Lemoire could not hear the voice through that window, so there could only be one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely. But what's this? Haha, you do amuse me so. But here I thought you and Good Sense were back on speaking terms. Now I'm afraid you and Good Sense speak two entirely different languages. Shall I interpret it for you, Hair Forehead? Lemoire clearly stated she heard the voice through that small window. There is only one small window at the scene. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is? I know that look. He wants us to ask him. Very well. You claim Lemoire heard that voice from another location? Mr. Justice, show us where this location was. Lemoire heard the voice from here. Oh. It's this way. I assume... Wait. Does he mean this? Wait. I assume he's talking about this, right? We'll see if it works. Oh, it did work, yeah. This is where Lemoire heard that voice from. But that's no small window. That's the air vent. What does she tell us? She said she's a Borginian, unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window. Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. Ludicrous speed. So Lemoire was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice? That's the only logical explanation, yes. Logical? I do not think this word means what you think it means, Hair Forehead. It's an old meme, but it checks out. Okay, what about it isn't logical? Ha! It hardly merits saying. Why would Lemoire be in the ventilation system? Hiding like a rat. No offense intended to her, of course. The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Lemoire? You've been listening to our discussion here, yes? I thought it was spelled wrong then. Yes. I admit it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through it? I fear the prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. Ah, take that. The problem here is words. Lemoire, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high on the ceiling of the room, not low on a wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. What? Somehow, all this talking is actually making my throat feel better. Order, order, I will have order. I didn't realise it was going to fade out then. Witness, you will clarify this statement to the court. Are you in fact saying that you're up above the ceiling of the room? And that's where you heard the moment of the crime? Yes, in fact I was. I'm sorry, I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? I believe it's time for another testimony. I'm not sure I can't. May I remind you this is a murder trial? We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling of that room. Please. I know why. Well, looks like I'm on the right track. Above the ceiling. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I'd heard there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy on this matter. But bound to secrecy? In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold. But you say you were in the middle of your performance, so this did happen during the second set. I did not witness the crime, you must understand. I only know what I heard. Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail. That's what the cross-examination is for. Yeah, Herr Forehead? Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission. Very well. It's justice. You may begin the cross-examination. What are you going to do, Apollo? I'm going to find out the truth. She was above that ceiling for a reason. I just have to get it out of her. I already know why. I already know why. I already know why. Above the ceiling. Got to get a statement first. If I was there, I cannot say. As far as that, I cannot say. We present the videotape. Lamar, truth be told, the reason for your presence above that ceiling is quite clear. Especially when you consider what happened during your performance. What happened? Yes, it's all right here on this video. Oh. Dude, your guitar's on fire. It takes a long while for that guitar to actually properly burst into flame. It sparked ages ago, and now it properly starts burning. There you go. Took it a while. Magic. That's a long distance that she had to travel. As we can see, Lamar was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Though it saddens me to be so realistic, Lamar is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view, and during that time she moved to the back of the forum. Apollo! What, Drusy? It's not nice to reveal the magician's secrets, and it's against the rules. But I'm a lawyer. I'm not supposed to be nice. This is all very fascinating. But how is it possible? There's only 20 seconds between when she disappears and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed. Aha! He's just realising his own oversight. Boom! Let's look at the cross-section diagram again. Here we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage through the backstage to the rear of the forum. Recall Lamar's testimony from yesterday. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. She went from the stage to the backstage exit. Perfect description of this route above the ceiling. Lamar knew of this because of her part in the illusion. But she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Matcha told me something. I know if I opening vents, I can leave stage and backstage. He said that? Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course. Yet I had no idea of the route that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. Which is why he bound Lamar to secrecy. Well, Lamar? I'm impressed, Mr. Attorney. Matcha was right about you. So, what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling? I did. Well, that's that. But I'm still a little confused. Why is that, Your Honour? As I said before... there was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. 20 seconds, tops. How could she do it so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice. That's a good question. Can the witness explain this to the court? I cannot. Very well, Mr. Justice. Yes. It's all up to you. Do your thing. What thing, Your Honour? You need to explain how Lamar was able to teleport like she did. Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater. Why do I get picked on? It's Lamar who isn't going along with this program either. As I've said before, I am not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail. Then you'll just have to tell us what you can. We'll hear your testimony on this. It's Justice, it will be your job to wring the truth out of her. Yes, if you would, please. Right. I feel like a student before finals. Good luck, Apollo. Wow, this is a very long thing. I've got to amend my guide here. Wow. I would have thought we'd have finished by now, but no. So much more. We're going to be definitely over an hour. The big illusion. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There is an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited. From there one can enter the forum on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice. 2 minutes you say. The mystery deepens. I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something. As does my curiosity. Take it away, Mr. Justice. Right, Your Honour. All I have to do is find the contradiction between what Lamar is saying and what we can see plainly in the video. I figured it out already. I am a magician after all. Well, tell me. Not a chance. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on. Hey, you're supposed to be on my side here. Ooh. Whoa, where'd that come from? Another drink. Okay. We've got to press statement 4. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. The plan, me to move there in 2 minutes. Press. 2 minutes? Yep, it can be done in 1 minute if you're running. Running? In that cramped, dark tunnel above the ceiling? Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me. Yeah, that's true, but... So you're saying that on the night of the concert you made the trip in 2 minutes? Yep, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. Lamar disappears on the video for 20 seconds. But she said she made the trip in 2 minutes. How? If you want my professional opinion, I'll bet the answer is right there in that video. Well, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us. Something that can explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony. Evidence to explain the discrepancy. Present evidence. There's one piece of evidence that explains the discrepancy between the video and the testimony. And that's the brooch. Lamar, do you happen to remember this brooch? Ah, the brooch. We saw that yesterday, did we not? It was found at the scene, Your Honour. And you're bringing this up now. Why? I thought we'd already determined when that was dropped. So did I, but we hadn't. Take another look at the video. Spark. Burning, burning, guitar of fire. So, you can see she is currently wearing the brooch. Oh, there you go. Here you can see she's wearing the brooch. What's that creepy goddamn figure in the bottom right? What the hell is that? That's the most terrifying thing I've ever seen. Yeah, so she is. Let's look a bit later. Melody. What? The brooch is gone. What? Yep. The brooch disappeared in the short space of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can only be one explanation. The Lamar we see before the vanishing act and the Lamar we see after are two different people. What? The brooch was found on the floor at the crime scene. And not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. Lamar, tell me, did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage? At the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did. Order! Prosecutor Gavin! From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, Herr Judge. I, of course, knew about it. What? Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So I was right. There was a switch. There's two kinds of switches. There's a clicky switch and the Lamar switch. Just before the stage's tower rose, Lamar was replaced. While we're on the subject, just who was this replacement Lamar? Why, the man behind the illusion, Volant Grammari. Oh, wow. It was Grammari? I was expecting it to be like Emma Sky or something insane like that. Like, he pressured her into doing it or something. It's Grammari? That's quite the illusion, but I still don't get one thing. Yes? The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So you weren't on the stage. That's right, but this fake Lamar is still singing. And she's pretty good. That's true. Come on, Apollo, that's an easy one. They were just playing a recording. The Governors aren't some kind of air guitar band, Fraulein. Oh, you mean I'm wrong? When we play a show live, we play live, no recordings. Perhaps you could explain, Lamar? Very well. Yes, do tell, and enter your testimony. I had to keep singing even while I moved. Press. You were singing? Yep. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings. So I used this. Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling towards the backstage? Why should it matter where I sing when everywhere I go is the same darkness? But if you were singing while you were walking... That's right, wouldn't the shooter and victim have heard? You were singing right over their heads after all. That is right. Are you sure? It had to be pretty hard of hearing to be someone singing in the ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. What state? Ah, I know what he means. That old speaker, Apollo. The speaker? The speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. Ah, that's for monitoring the stage from this room. Monitoring? It pipes in a real-time feed from the stage microphones. There. Useful for knowing when your set is coming up. Satisfied? That dressing room was fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage. My request, actually. So the Lamar singing in the ceiling sounded just like the Lamar singing over the speaker. Ingenious! Her voice was hidden by her own voice. Ah, Lamar? I have just remembered something. Do tell. When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes? It startled me, so I stopped singing. What? I forgot the words I was supposed to sing. The song stopped. Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice. Forehead, that mixing board I lent you, where is it? The mixing... Huh? That machine, Apollo. The one that breaks music into tracks. Oh, this. I completely forgot about it. Just randomly had it in my back pocket, you know, a giant mixing board. Let's take a listen. Sugar, sugar. Oh, that night in your embrace. I was about to sing a completely different line. I was going to say sweet, because sugar and sweet, I don't know. It's not, no, sugar makes stuff sour. I don't know, don't ask me. Pleasure, only one pleasure. Melody. The song does stop there. It does, I must have missed it. Look at the lyric sheet, at the top of the second verse. See where it says pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again. Do we have to? It was pretty obvious that she only sang it once. So right there, that's actually Volant Grammari, right there on that stage. Well, just before it rises up, he says, I don't know how they switch like right there, but Now it's for like Gomerai. Insane. There's evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making a terrible mistake. The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during Lemoire's ballad. If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter. Which means that Darien Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Because Matthew was on the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet one problem remains. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? Hey, Forehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it. It is entirely based upon Lemoire's testimony. Yes, is there a problem with this? Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she is lying to protect the defendant? But you have no proof. All I'm saying is that the truth is as yet unclear. Until we hear directly from the man himself. The man... you don't mean? Yep. Though he's a friend and band member, Darien Crescent must take the stand. I see no other way. As someone with a new perspective on the case, as a suspect, to be frank. Frank saw it. Finally, the rat's coming out of his hole. And I'm ready to catch him. Darien Crescent, get ready for justice. This is as good a time as any to pause for a brief recess. Prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin. I'm the last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are. Very well, court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess. To be continued. I don't know why I did that. Right, so next time will be the last part of this case. There are 3 cross-examinations. One medium-sized one, I guess. One very short one where I only present one thing and then it's done. And then the long wrapping everything up testimony until we finally, finger the guy. So there we go. That was some more Apology State's Attorney, Turnabout Serenade. Turned pretty much everything around with Lemoire's broken English about the small window and that she wasn't on stage the whole time, which I already guessed about. And the whole thing about still the shootings, though. The gunshots after he'd been shot, we still don't know about, really. But, yeah, pretty much most of the suspicion is moved away from Matchy now to Darien. So, we'll talk to him next time. So, thank you for watching, and I shall see you all next time. Good.